Hello and welcome back to Dial H for Heroclix. I'm your sexy ranch hand co-host, Kalder and Simeon. This is episode 285. Howdy, howdy, let's get rowdy. Dial H for Heroclix is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, including all the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com. First try. Of course, like always in the studio, I am joined by my co-host, Simeon Bruce. What's going on, Simeon?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just being a South Dakota state champion.
I used to know what that was like.
I mean, technically you're like, what is it, uncontested or something like that?
Yeah.
Because you didn't show up, so like they had to defer the belt to me.
Right. Except they definitely did show up and lost.
Oh, okay.
But it was Pauper, so it's different. So it's
yeah.
So it's really.
I'm the Pauper South Dakota state champion.
You're the poor South Dakota state champion, which I'm okay with.
They should put that all on the map.
Yeah. Like South Dakota Pauper state champion instead of just South Dakota state champion. I agree. I absolutely agree. Like always, we like to start every week off with what made us happy this week. Simeon, you got something?
This week is a pretty rough week. But what made me happy was playing at the Nebraska states, getting to see everybody 2 weekends in a row. That was pretty cool.
Nice. That is fantastic. I sadly missed Nebraska states. My hell cows, they all fell out of my Heroclix box and grew like 80 times in size, and were just all over the beautiful green hills of South Dakota. So we had to wrangle them up. Did that make me happy this week? No, not one bit. So we're going to skip that and do what actually did. I love ranching, but the cattle get on my nerves sometimes. You can't control them. They're animals, beautiful creatures. I respect them. Doesn't mean I have to like them, because man, they're cruel. They're cruel things. Anyways, what made me happy this week? Today, I finally cracked open my WizKids handed copy. It was given to me by WizKids themselves of Kibble Scuffle, for reasons I won't disclose on this episode. If you want to, you can listen to the Worlds episode and find out how that happened. And we finally played Kibble Scuffle, and I was impressed by it, to be really honest with you. I finally took the plastic off and actually opened it up today. It has a little, if you buy a box of rice or something, it has one of those little notches in the side of the box. So you open that up and then you can tip it over, and like how salt has that, where you lift it up and you pour it out like that on the side of the box. You know what I'm saying?
There's a song about it.
Yeah. I hate you, Simeon. All right.
Tip me over and pour me out.
Well, that's not. It's a teapot. This is different. This is built into the box. It's like a little lever-looking thing. Like the box is flat. I'm doing really hard to basically just say it's it's a spout or whatever. Anyways, the kibble box. So after you get everything out of the game, all the cards and everything out of the game, you take the kibble pieces, you put them randomly in the box, and then the box is part of the game, and you use that to randomize the pouring of the little kibble pieces. It was really cute. It was real neat. All right.
That's pretty sweet, because it's not a big box.
It's not. No, it's small.
So that's cool that they utilized it.
It was dope, and the fact that it was a game element, it was a little rough. Because I didn't read the rules all the way through, and we just kind of started playing. We'll figure out how we go along. And we ended up having to change a lot of things, but it was still really fun. It was a really fun game with the cats eating at the different bowls, and then there's a eating phase. And I think the game works pretty well. I really couldn't think of ways to totally improve it. It was just played differently than most games with the way the phases went and how they can interrupt each other and stuff. But I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. And I really enjoyed playing old Kibble Scuffle. That should just be a YouTube video, me explaining the rules really poorly, and then a million cats coming in and just messing everything up. It won't.
Are you going to go into the competitive scene of Kibble Scuffle?
I might go into the competitive Kibble Scuffle scene if I maybe won that game, but my sister handily beat me. I would say it's because she likes cats more. That's the excuse, and that's all I have to give you. So, moving right along into the news section. Like always in news, let's go to least interesting to most interesting. So because we already had, yeah, somehow we're not doing that first. We're gonna do the skirmish design insight. This is not me trying to poo-poo on skirmish. It's just not a lot of things totally change, and I still haven't played a skirmish game myself, despite owning the ROC skirmish map. I just haven't had time to like set it up, find the people that want to play. Because when I go every week, we just play whatever we want to play. I just haven't had the time to like casually play a game of skirmish. So we can go ahead and read through a little bit of the article. We're not going to spend too much time on it since it doesn't totally affect everything. It's not official game mode yet. No tournaments are being run with it. But I want to say, from what I understood of skirmish, for the small minutia, the little bit that I saw, these changes seem to be smart to help streamline the format as a whole, I would say.
Right. Since you're not scoring like the normal way,
Right.
it's a far departure from like what you would normally expect from Heroclix. And I can't help but like every time I read one of these rules, I kind of apply it to like a modern 300 point game, and I'm like, wow, this is a bad rule, but it's different, so I'm definitely gonna have to like play through it to figure out if it's actually bad or if it's just my bias like with like the normal play style that's making it feel that way.
Okay, sure. So I'm going to read some of the new rules, and then there are some changes to original rules. Let me just go ahead and read the 2 new rules. For 3 to 4 player skirmishes, update to format only one multi-base character per starting force. This includes Peanut, 2x2, etc. So I think that helps with the whole placement thing. It just makes that easier, so that's cool. Special terrain, they also go to say special terrain doesn't fit well into it, so no special terrain on starting forces or sidelines. There's no special terrain in skirmish because obviously all the starting areas are so close. Special terrain rules don't make a lot of sense with having to be at least 3 away from starting area, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you know what? And besides that, if you played like Dune Buggy on a skirmish map, it feels like almost everybody would have -1 to attack. Or like the boxing ring would almost be in the starting area, I want to say. Like rings like that would be in the starting area. So that makes sense. No special terrain. That makes sense. I can agree with that for the most part.
Oh yeah, and if you could start your entire force inside the boxing ring and be like, yeah, you got like a -2 if you want to shoot anyone in here.
Yeah, have fun.
I mean, yeah, so I understand both of those. They both seem like fairly obvious things that should be for this format. The changes to the original skirmish rules. We've got during game setup, special objects may be placed at least 2 squares away from a starting area. That's a lot different than like the normal ones. 2 squares is a sidestep. And then after all characters are placed, 1 character per force, starting with the first player, may have an object equipped to them. So that's before beginning of the game even. That's just an auto. Like once everyone's set up and ready to go, you can equip 1 person right away.
This is gnarly. I'm going to pause and say how crazy cool and maybe a little broken this changes. You just get an auto start vulture with the Ock arms if you want to. That would be on the highest end, or in any other case, your just character automatically starts Andre the Giant, Blood Axe, whatever possible combinations you have. You get to choose just 1 character, even if they don't have that whole start with trait, if I'm reading this right. You just get to choose any character, and they just get an auto start with a piece of equipment, which is it's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty insane. I want to see how that plays out. I'm really curious to see how well that works.
So with like Ultra Chase Thanos, you start with the Ego Gem, and then you could, at the beginning of the game, like auto have the Soul Gem.
Another gem, yeah.
Like, and since objects like being destructible now, I mean, they're basically all destructible now. Like they just are. It makes it like there's no reason not to play an object on your force. Like just automatically give someone, that like Cosmic Cube or that Infinity Gauntlet. You don't have to worry about it being destroyed ever in this format. And the rule of first round limitations has a damage reduction element. Currently it reads, once at any time during another player's first round, when a character on your force would take damage, you can reduce the damage dealt to that character by 2. If multiple characters would be hit, you can only reduce the damage dealt to one of them. penetrating damage can't be reduced by this effect. So they liked this rule, so they bumped it to once during an opponent's first round, when a friendly character would take damage, you may reduce penetrating damage and reduce the damage taken by 2 in addition to any other reducers. Pulse Wave can't be activated during a player's first round. So basically that makes impervious, like, at least during your first round, it makes impervious real big. Can't be, like, you can't take, like, the penetrating. You get to reduce penetrating, and then you get to reduce it by an additional 2 for, like, one character. So that means one character on your force has a impervious with, like, on first round, they have an impervious that can reduce by 4, or you can just roll out of it. Not sure which you get to decide first. If you're like, I'm gonna reduce by 4, and then you roll to see if it reduces to 0. But that's pretty big.
Yeah.
Again, I think first round, because this is a very fast-paced format, I think first round is very big for this format.
Be absolute. Like, that's like the most important round of the entire thing, really. Whoever wins the roll off is just at such a huge advantage. Even with the whole can reduce an extra 2, and if they all have good reducers, then it's by 3 or even by 4, which is gnarly. You know, like, it's gonna be crazy. Which brings us to victory conditions. The first player to score 15 points in a 2-player game or 20 points in a 3 to 4-player game wins immediately. Bystanders weren't referenced explicitly in determining victory points before. KOing a bystander should count as dealing a collective damage, which reads like this. While you are the active player, score 1 point for every bystander character that you KO. Now, it doesn't say friendly or opposing, so someone's already liked, so you're saying I can pulse wave a bunch of my own bystanders and just instantaneously win the game. Obviously, it's not meant to be like that, but the way people are, and since they left it kind of open-ended, you know, to push a bystander or kill your own bystander. Yeah, I mean, by the way it's written right now, obviously it clearly isn't meant that way, because that's, I think, against the spirit of the format, but anybody will take anything to get that extra little leg up if they think it's going to help them out. So I think that's all of the rules.
Pretty neat. That's all the new stuff.
That's all the new stuff.
Yeah.
Have you tried Skirmish? Are you weary of trying Skirmish? Then write in to Dial H and let us know. I really want to try it. I actually probably want to, like, do a video of it sometime whenever I can, like, find 4 people to try and play a game and figure out how it all totally goes. I really do want to try it because that map is really sweet. So I definitely want to try it out. Yeah. And yeah, let us know if you guys try Skirmish and what your thoughts are. Next up in news, we're going to go ahead. I wasn't there, but Simeon still was. That's half the podcast is enough to make a segment about it. We're going to talk about the recent Nebraska Pauper State Roc event that was held. So Simeon, give us the lowdown on that, if you would.
The lowdown on the Pauper States for Nebraska.
Was it anything like the one before that I also missed for the Nebraska States?
Oh, you mean like the previous Nebraska States event?
Yeah.
Well, Calder, I just got back from Nebraska States. I was running Vulture.
Oh,
and some like stuff
Simeon.
Like that, because this was 300 constructed.
That's right.
Modern,
300 modern in April of 2019. Yeah.
Yes, somewhere around that time, for sure. This is when I'm recording and saying these things.
You aren't on it. I haven't asked you to be on the podcast yet, so we're not recording. This is just us having a conversation. No mics involved. Yep.
That's what I meant
weird thing for you to say there about recording, Simeon. I hope it doesn't ask him to be on the podcast.
So yeah, the event went pretty well. I went undefeated in Swiss. I beat Lucas. And then in the top 4, I got beat by Kevin, who went on to face Lucas in the finals, and Lucas ended up winning the event. That's how the...
well, that's good for Lucas. Too bad you didn't do that well, though, Simeon.
No, too bad. Well, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, talk to you later, man. So wait, how did it go this time again?
Oh, the Pauper States.
Yeah, the Pauper State one.
300 Pauper. Yeah. Well, it was a pretty good day. 13 people showed up. I got top 4 cut, and I got beat out by Kevin, who went on to face Lucas in the final. Oh, I beat Lucas in Swiss, by the way, and then he beat Kevin in the finals. So
Well, I'm sure that's nothing like it's happened before.
no, I don't recall a time that would have happened.
No, neither do I. Although I didn't show up the first time, so I suppose I really wouldn't have a clue. Is there anything you wanted to talk about at the Pauper Roc State turn? Jeez.
The peak of comedy.
I don't. Do we just have a shared flashback there? Is that what happened?
Yeah, our brains have connected too
Melded
much.
together?
We are too
Jeez.
powerful now. So I did do like a quick little write-up. So my first game was against Isaac Denke, he ended up getting 4th, and he ran Onslaught, Maestro, Dr. Frankenstein, Proteus, the Knobbed Mace, Train Map, and some IDs. So it was a +4 monster theme.
Monster. That's cool. I like that Maestro on the team. That's cool.
Yes, I really like Maestro in Pauper. I was glad that I faced Isaac because I didn't get to play him at all in the South Dakota states, and he had like an Onslaught team that I was like, I wonder how I could have done against that. So I was glad that I played against him. I ended up winning this game. It was really like touch and go for a little while, and then like it was really like I think he was up in points. He had taken out like Undertaker and some other stuff. I was down to like Shawn Michaels and Eddie. Eddie was on an outwit click, which doesn't help me against Onslaught. I'm pretty sure I ended up doing like some Sweet Chin music, not a fully charged Sweet Chin music, but I hit Onslaught. He probbed it. No, I missed Onslaught. I probbed it with like my last theme team. He probbed it with Onslaught, and then I crit hit, and he didn't have another prob.
Nice.
So it ended up one-shotting Onslaught.
That is pretty
He wasn't
gnarly.
on.
Wasn't
He wasn't on his invuln. Yeah,
Okay.
but it like took him out in the one hit.
Crit
So then
hit
it
no
was
super
just
senses, baby. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, it was just like Proteus, Maestro against Shawn Michaels and Eddie, and at that point I'm just like staying away, like outwitting Maestro's like stuff, like submission holding him, but it was like really Maestro's got those like lower clicks where it's like a free attack plus flurry, and he's got the blood axe, so he can exploit me. He can do all kinds of nasty stuff, and yeah, he can heal the top dial with that if he hits all of the attacks. So it was basically just let Shawn Michaels recharge, hit him with another Sweet Chin music with like an outwit, and like that's basically how the game went. And Eddie with his triple flurries as well. Game 2. Oh, and the trains are scary. That like 5 points where they can roll to attack you.
WWE superstars? Yeah, trains are very scary.
Very scary. Game 2 was against Lucas. He ended up winning the event. Played really well. He had an Avengers team. It was Hulk, Medusa, Crystal, Voyager, Giant Girl, Aim White, Aim Red, Fast Force Giant Girl, Blood Axe, Iron Avengers map, Dune Buggy, and IDs. He won map because he had like a +8 or 9, I think. He had a really high number. I only had a 4. He won map and decided not to take me to Stark Tower, the Iron Avengers thing.
Yeah.
So he didn't get his map bonus. I can't remember. He took me to like the Genosha map, the one where it's like elevated on the 2 sides, and then there's like a strip down, like a diagonal strip down the middle of the map. He took me to that map. I placed my boxing ring. I moved up, equipped my blood axe, moved into the ring. Like basically, I built my team. Oh, I should say what I was running.
That'd be a great help. Otherwise, we'll just assume it's the exact same thing as last week.
It's almost the exact same.
So you have Eddie Guerrero and HBK. We know that for sure.
Yeah, you know those two for sure. It was Asuka at 40 again, and then I dropped Stone Cold and Prez Ricard and threw in Undertaker at 100 points and the Blood Axe because I really wanted something to get around Shape Change, especially seeing like all the onslaughts. I was like, man, it'd be great to get around Shape Change. And it was the one time it happened. So that's what I was running. My whole team is based around like Undertaker can tank a bunch. Eddie can tank at least 3 hits, even if they're big hits. Um, Asuka can't tank anything at all. And then Shawn Michaels is just hard to hit. So my whole team is just based like I've got people that I'll allow to get hit, and then I've got people where I can sink all of my probs into like trying to keep them alive. So he set up a big wave of attacks, which is kind of what the Avengers team does. It's like a bunch of like move up, free attack kind of stuff. Uh, he moved up to the boxing ring and sunk a bunch of theme team probs into like hitting his first attack. I think I threw Eddie's prob at him, and then he had to sink like 4 of his theme team probs into hitting his first attack, and then I just hit my super senses anyhow.
Nice.
So that was he hit. I think it was Shawn Michaels.
Sucks. I hate it when your opponent gets super sensitive.
I think he hit like Shawn Michaels to like his super senses empower click, and then I ended up like rolling super senses when he tried to quake. So yeah, then he came in with like a Hulk. I think he whiffed that attack. Crystal, I think I hit my super senses on the crystal attack, and then that was basically all he had that turn. And so my turn, I had an empower from Shawn, and I had giant reach from Undertaker. So I was able to charge exploit the Hulk for 3 with Asuka, and then she got her +1 defense for the rest of the game.
Nice.
I was able to like flying leap with a few characters and do different stuff like that. I basically took out Hulk, Medusa, and I dropped Crystal to like an 8 attack all in the same turn. Another thing that was going for me was the way he had positioned his Dune buggy was like right in the corner of the ring that I wanted to be in. So I just stuck all my guys as close to that, and I was like, he's going to be within 4 unless he's attacking with like a giant girl with colossal reach. So everyone he's attacking with is going to be at a -1, and that hurt him a lot in that match. But no, it was mostly just bad rolls for him, and then me hitting like a super senses. And then so yeah, he killed Asuka, and then I finished off the rest of his team with Undertaker. I almost spent a turn equipping Undertaker with his blood axe because his Hulk also had a blood axe, and I was like, I don't need 2 blood axes on this team, and it was like mostly cleanup at that point, so I just like trudged ahead.
That's when you do the stuff you don't need to do. When it's just cleanup, dude, those are my favorite like kind ever. You don't have to handily beat someone.
Just like make sure I regen everybody. Yeah. I want everyone to be top dial when I do this. Yeah.
Well, maybe not that, but like side tangent, because this is all about you, and I want to talk about me. I want to talk about I want to talk about number 1, like the song. Anyways, but against Tyler Spees, the one, Heroclix World Champion Tyler Spees, who I beat in that one tournament. He just had like 3 or 4 Colossals left. So I'm just like, you know what? I just want to win with Captain Venom. So I made Captain Venom do all the work after that. Like I had Mojo and all these call-ins and stuff to do, but I'm like, nah.
What a bad man.
I'm going to TK Captain Venom up and make him quake everybody. I let him. He brought in Firestorm, and I'm like, I could also attack. I could have retaliated against Firestorm, and I'm like, no, it's Captain Venom's time to shine, and that felt really good. It felt good to me. All right, keep going.
I do like when you've got like the one character that you normally never get to pull off their cool thing, and it's like, I'm just gonna do it. Like when I sweet chin music to your Alex Wilder 14 for 5 on his last click, and I didn't need to.
Yeah, like that time.
Sportsmanship. That's what that is.
Well,
so
you know what isn't sportsmanship? When I ask for the dice and you shake my hand because you think I'm conceding. That's not sportsmanship, Simeon Bruce.
I forgot. We didn't mention that.
We didn't mention that. Had to come out naturally in my own angry.
Yeah, at one point during our match, Kalder had already lost his 200-point Juggernaut, and I think like a few 200-point Juggernaut, and I want to say Captain Britain was dead. And he reached across the table to get the dice from me, and I thought he was just conceding, so I shook his hand and said, like, good game. And he was like, I'm not conceding. Uh,
Ugh. Ugh. If it was anybody but you, I might have been a little more angry. But it's
Will
fine.
and
It's fine.
Will Will was standing behind, like, watching the game, and he was like, well, to be honest, I also thought you were trying to shake his hand.
Yeah.
So I'm not on my own there. But to get back to the right weekend,
Yeah, keep going.
Game 3 was against Kevin. He ended up getting second. So Kevin did a great job learning against me last week, learning that you don't want to leave Onslaught next to Submission Hold. And so he ran Onslaught, Undertaker, Claire Finn from Orville, Alex Wilder, Giant Girl, Blood Axe, and the Train map. So Claire Finn is just there mostly for the Yaphet Pog.
Yeah.
Yaphet gives characters that are adjacent sidestep. So giving Onslaught sidestep meant that even if he's double tokened, he can still free action, in-cap, mind control, whatever, and then sidestep away. Which meant it was really hard for me, even if I did pop him off of Invuln, it was really hard for me to get a submission set up. Like, just almost never happened. Actually, it didn't happen this game. He ended up beating me in this game. I won map. I took him to the Orville map because I forgot to bring any of my maps with me, and it just looked like a fun map to play on.
Sure.
So I went to the Orville map, and he managed to hit a mind control on Asuka, and I was like, all right. Like, he also had the train bonus, and if he doesn't win and get the train map, then his consolation is whoever he chose for that gets the opponent gets a -1 defense when you target them with mind control, in cap, and something else. So he basically had, I had a -1 defense every time Onslaught targeted me. But he mind controlled Asuka. I re-rolled it with the ring, still hit. It wasn't a hard hit to make. Then Asuka with her 10 attack went after HBK, who has a 19. He hit. I theme probbed it with HBK. He hit. I theme probbed it with Undertaker. He hit. I probbed it with Eddie Guerrero's prob, and then he hit again. So he managed to hit a 9 4 times back to back. It was rough, and it just went downhill from there. It was actually like a really solid game where even like after that, like it was kind of anyone's game. Like his Undertaker and my Undertaker both had blood axes. I managed to tie his down with submission hold and like an early outwit and stuff like that. And so I did get his Undertaker that time, but there's just no way for me to reach his Onslaught in time to knock him off. And then game 4 was against Jonah Fleming.
Haven't heard of him.
Yeah, good. Usually runs Wales or something. I don't know.
Probably something bad.
Yeah. So he was running an Avengers build as well. He ended up getting 7th overall. He was running a different Avengers build than like the standard multi-free attack kind of thing. So he was running Professor Hulk, which I like. He's running Voyager with that, Medusa, Aim White, Eric Masterson, Giant Girl, the Stark Tower bonus, and I think might have been running 2 Giant Girls, but I know he also had the Blood Axe for Hulk. So this came down to he put me on the Avengers, the Stark Tower map, and first turn he rolled for the Iron Avengers, and he got the Scarlet Witch one, the one with prob and Force Blast and all that stuff. She starts like real close to my starting area, and so my first turn I just like positioned my guys, moved Asuka up, equipped Eddie with the Blood Axe, and then Asuka punched the Scarlet Witch lady and got a +1 defense for the rest of the game. So that was like, it wouldn't have been a bad idea, except he ran out of actions, so he couldn't move the witch away. She was just stuck in that square. And then the next turn, I just moved everyone up into the ring, and he came in for his big hit. This came down to him not knowing WWE like stats or figures very well. He probably would have done a lot better had he like faced this team before, like in practice or something. But he didn't know what the team ability did to the full extent. So at one point he hit. I was like, you can't shoot at Eddie right now. He's on click 1. Eddie has 2 clicks that you can actually target him on. So if you hit him for if you hit him for 3 damage, he instantly is on a blue click. So you can't like shoot him. If you hit him for 2 damage, he'll land on like a click that you can actually outwit him and stuff on. But he ended up coming in for a big attack as well, and I just sunk a bunch of stuff into like him not hitting it, and he didn't have line of fire for prob, so he ended up missing that one. It took me a while to eat through that Hulk's dial, which surprised me. I was like hitting him like a tank, but yeah, it just surprised me how long it took me to get through his dial. And then him with the blood axe and with his trait where he heals 1 like every other turn, plus he gets a flurry like later on. He almost pulled it out, but I managed to take the Hulk out and Medusa out. I took Medusa out with just like submission hold, so it was pretty much over after that. And then cut to top 4 because we only had 13 people. I went up against Kevin again. He won map this time. He moved Onslaught up and free TK'd my Blood Axe and destroyed it right away. And then since he had to move up like halfway across the map, that meant I could grand entrance and reach him that first turn. And so I did that, and I sunk quite a bit of hope and dream into Asuka hitting him with an exploit early on.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't hit a 7. I needed a 7. I threw 2 theme teams and Eddie's prob at it, and I couldn't hit a 7. So that was bad. And then he proceeded to make every shape change roll except I think like 2 the rest of the game, and I was just rolling terribly. But no, he built a real solid team. Undertaker with Blood Axe is real crazy. Onslaught with that sidestep is real good. Claire Finn being able to free support and then power action support, that actually did make the difference in the game, like big time.
Yeah.
Because she missed like one of the support rolls, but she has 2, so he missed one and then managed to hit the other one, and so that was like soul crushing when I was like the 1 damage I managed to do to Onslaught got taken away. I did KO Onslaught in that game, and it came down to his Undertaker and Alex Wilder versus my Undertaker on a stop click, and I want to say Eddie Guerrero, but Eddie Guerrero had 2 damage, and so once he took out my Undertaker, his Undertaker was still on click 1, so I couldn't outwit. And
Yeah.
Eddie with 2 damage was like, I need a crit to get him off of that click because I can't outwit him on click 1. Like I just couldn't do anything, and it was
Yeah.
real rough, but that's how it went. And then yeah, you can watch Lucas versus Isaac in the top 4 on Happy Little Heroclix. He'll have that up probably Monday, and then Kevin versus Lucas will be probably on like Tuesday. So
Right on. Just to mention the videos from last event, it was pointed out to me by someone in the comments that I might be a little loud. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I project my words. I'm not like, hey guys,
I don't think that
some
was you.
Heroclix.
That was Calder with a C.
Oh, that's right. That was Calder with the C. So there was another Calder Nest there, but he spelled his name with a C. And he was just really loud. He was obnoxiously loud. You can hear him in every video. He tries to sing Hurt. He did a great injustice to Mr. Cash. I mean, it was painful. Whoever Calder with a C was, he needs to cut it out. He needs to cut it out. That ain't cool, dude. Not cool at all. Someone's trying to record. How would they like it if they? How would you like it if they messed up your recording? Huh, Calder with a C? If you did a podcast or something, you probably don't. Calder with the C, you're probably a loser. Anyways, moving on to the best news of the week, because we finally got news about the Captain America and the Avengers Marvel Heroclix set coming to shelves available in February 2020. Ooh, are you pumped? Are you excited? I really want to be excited for this, but they're showing me figures I'm going to be real. Do not care about. I do not care who these people are. I like Citizen V because I like his drip he's got going on right there. I like it's very comedian-esque looking outfit, so I dig it. I like the stars and stripes. Anything patriotic, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
You like the stars and stripes? What?
I like the stars and stripes. You might believe this. maybe you might not. But I kind of got a thing for Americana, Captain America, Stars and Stripes, Go America, Red, White, and Blue, all that good stuff. I'm slightly patriotic, so Stars and Stripes think it's pretty cool. We're gonna talk about them. People are excited for Thunderbolts. I think they're taking up spots in my set that should be random, obscure Captain America allies, but that's okay as long as they give me just a few, please. I'm begging you. I'm on my knees here. I know it's already been decided, and I know they're already made, but please tell me there's some good stuff in the set, WizKids. You're worrying me. But really 3 figures in. We're only going to talk about 2 because the Radioactive Man is, we've said this before. Hey, we really appreciate that you got this image to us early, but you see it, don't be like, oh, yeah, let's get push. No, it's like, take a breath. In, out. And then calmly grab your phone, take a picture, take a few pictures, make sure they look nice. Then move it over. Flatten it out. Don't have to put it on your knee or whatever. Just take it and just take a picture. Don't send us this blurry stuff. It's useless. I mean, I'm really
crazy
grateful, but come on, man.
There's like websites out there if you're like, if you like to say like R and stuff like that, that you can go to these websites where you can get full comics like scanned into computers and you can see them in like digital rendered quality. Somebody takes like the time and effort to scan them in. But yeah, it's just like a quick job, so it is quite blurry.
It's a little hasty, but that's okay. So we have Citizen V and Jolt. Jolt being a prime, the uncommon prime, 31B. Citizen V being is he common? No, he's an uncommon. Number 20. I want to talk about Citizen V. I've already decided that Simeon. All right, if you're cool talking about Jolt. They're 2 Thunderbolts. I think Thunderbolts are cool, but they're not Captain America related. So let's go ahead. He has a trait. Reveal myself to the world. So he comes in at 50 points, 0 range, no special combat symbols, no team ability. Thunderbolts, V Battalion, celebrity and martial artist. Keyword, no affiliation as well. So not even a Masters of Evil team ability on this guy. Because it's a more Thunderbolt version, so that's fine. He can also be played at 75 points if you do the Reveal Myself to the World trait when he would be KO'd. Instead, replace him with 062 or Captain America said 100 Baron Zemo on his last non-KO click. Then roll a d6 and heal that character equal to half the result. Protected Pulse Wave. So, not a fan of one thing, Baron Zemo being a chase. I assume 62 is high enough in this 70-something character set that 62 is a chase. And we've seen that Baron Zemo sculpt. I don't think it's necessarily a chase-worthy sculpt, but that's the way it be sometimes. So seeing the dial, depending on what either Baron Zemo does, this guy, once he dies, once he gets punked, you get to roll d6, see what he lands on. So I assume he's either going to be 1 click short, won't be able to get all the way to top dial, or he'll have exactly 6 clicks and he potential for top dial, bring him in. And even if he's pulse waved off the map, he gets to use this trait no matter what. He also has Assembled Bolts and Masters, so he has a trait. This is on, I assume, all Thunderbolts and Masters of Evil, since it works for both. Once per turn, when Citizen V hits, after resolutions, you may roll a d6 on a 5 through 6. If your force has 3+ friendly characters with the Masters of Evil or Thunderbolts keyword, remove an action token from Citizen V, or give an action token to the hit target. If your force has 6 or more characters, do both. That's pretty awesome. Remove a token from him, give it to the opposing character. That's dope. And then he has charge for the first 3 clicks, combat reflexes for the first 3 clicks, 11 attack, 2 damage the first 3 clicks. He goes 17, 18, 17 first 3 clicks, and an 8 speed on the first 3 clicks. What's his special attack power? Precision Strike, Blades, Claws, Fangs. But instead, roll 2d6 for the result, which makes him a really solid secondary attacker for an uncommon little 50-point figure. I don't know if we're going to be able to make a lot of martial artist celebrity teams, but I assume Thunderbolts should be a fairly easy keyword in this set. They seem to have a pretty big presence. So I think, for a good Thunderbolt filler and sealed, I think that's awesome. I think this is really good for a secondary attacker, and he's not a bad pick in a battle royale either. So I think that's really, really,
Oh
really
yeah,
cool. And that
50
is
points
Citizen
and
V.
solid attack value, double chance of rolling. Like, I mean, you're probably not gonna roll a 1 or a 2 twice, but I mean, you got the double chance at rolling something fairly high. All right, so Jolt is the uncommon prime. Real name Maui Takahamama. I don't know. She's got Thunderbolts and Speedster keyword. Comes in at 60 points. She's got the Assembled Bolts and Masters trait. It reads the same as Citizen V's. It's going to be the same for, I'm guessing, all of them. Even Radioactive Man has that, I believe.
Yeah.
She's got a second trait, Hyperkinetic Agility and Bioelectric Manipulation. When Jolt moves 1+ square and hits 1+ characters, after resolutions, give her a kinetic token. If she has 1+ kinetic tokens, she can use willpower. If she has 2+ kinetic tokens, she can use energy explosion as free. If she has 4+ kinetic tokens, she deals penetrating damage. Kind of like a Marvel version of the Speed Force tokens, because she is a speedster. That's one of her keywords. But yeah, getting the 1+, so like your first attack, you get willpower if you hit, then you can push and get a second attack. And once you do that, you can do energy explosion as free. So that means in 2 turns, you could have 3 attacks. And then if you manage to get a couple more attacks in there, your energy explosion that is still free is penetrating. And also, like, your little bop in and out is penetrating as well. Doesn't say she removes them for any reason, so yeah, I think solid for 60 points. Her dial, she has flight. She's got 6 range, 2 targets. She's not Indom, of course, but she does have that willpower if she gets 1 hit off. She starts with a 12 speed hypersonic, 11 attack with precision strike. Wow, on a hypersonic character?
Wow. Never seen that before.
18 defense, super senses, and only 2 damage. But if you're getting that energy explosion or if you get that penetrating, it'll be worth it. Remember, precision strike can only be used with 1 target. So even though she's got 2, it's not going to help you out with this case. She drops down to a 10 attack on click 2 through 4, and then a 9 attack with poison and flurry on 5 and 6. She starts with that super senses, goes from an 18 to a 17, click 1 and 2. And then on clicks 3 and 4, she's got energy shield and some mid-dial enhancement. So, I mean, I guess you could place her pretty easily with that. But then her last 2 clicks, she's mostly close combat with combat reflexes, poison. So if you do get to +4 and then you get to late dial, you've got penetrating poison, and you've got flurry with 2 penetrating damage. Other than that, kind of a lackluster dial. She's pretty cool in the fact that she's got like those speed token kind of things. But other than that, she's got no improved targeting or anything, so you won't be able to use that free energy late dial if you're close and trying to poison anyone. The 2 damage is going to be rough if you get knocked off of the precision strike.
Yeah.
That's going to be real rough when you're like mid dial and you haven't gotten those tokens racked up, so you don't have the penetrating yet.
Well, all she has to do is hit, so it might be a few turns of doing nothing.
Yeah.
But she can at least get there. But yeah, no, getting knocked to that mid dial would be a huge bummer.
And we'll have to see a lot of the rest of the set, but just basing off of her, like if she was gonna go against like Citizen V, the other uncommon that we saw, for 10 points more, she's gonna probably just like outmaneuver him like
For sure.
the entire game. And so she's still a solid pick just because a 12 speed 6 range hypersonic means she doesn't have to get in close and she can just bop in and out real easy.
So I can't tell if there's really a theme for the primes. There just might not be. That's all the time. So I assume there's really not really a theme for the primes. Of course, this is the only first one we've seen, but she seems like a kind of generic Thunderbolt, unless she's part of a super cool Thunderbolt related speedster team that I don't know about. In which case, then maybe that's the theme for the primes. So that's neat.
Well, and I was trying to figure out like who the non-prime might be, and then if you look at the back of the card, there's like
Yeah.
a Thunderbolts issue number 10.
Mm.
It's the same lady, Jolt, but like not clear. She's got color instead of the like blue, like clear kind of thing going on. So I'm guessing that's the non-prime, is just like a fully painted one.
Right on. Scrolling around. I'm just going to fix this before someone says, actually, you're an idiot. 062 is a super rare for Baron Zemo. The chases are 69 through 74. So I apologize. Oh, then Ultra Chase at 075. So I apologize for saying that about 5 minutes ago. Please don't roast me alive.
Speaking of chases and super rares, what do you think that Hulk is rarity-wise?
That Hulk, I assume, this is just me thinking, just because we've seen Ultron and Ultron has an FX base and all the chases are going to have FX bases, I assume all the chases are going to be villains if they're doing a theme, which they could always do a half theme like they've done before. So you never know, but I assume that Hulk's is super rare, I would say, just because we haven't seen him with the FX base under his dial.
It's a real cool sculpt. It's him crawling out of his grave. It says, "Here lies
cool.
Bruce Banner."
It is nice.
He's covered in mud. He's like a little bit of Solomon Grundy-esque. And then right above him, we've got Doctor Strange doing
this guy is just stealing the show, by the way, for how amazing this sculpt looks.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of like Dr. Fate and a little bit of who's the DC guy that had like that big, was there a Constantine? I think there was a Constantine with
There's
like a big
Constantine
like
with the big like pentagram or something behind him. Magic looking symbols and stuff.
So he's got like a ton of that going on. His hands are glowing. He's got a flowing cape.
This
Pretty
is like
cool,
a newer look for the Doctor Strange. This has got to be a super rare or chase if they do it half heroes, half villains, because it's very easy to give Doctor Strange an effect if they wanted to. And there's like lightning behind Thor's cape, which is like maybe Thor has an effect, maybe Doctor Strange has an effect. Like I can't really tell, or maybe it's just
definitely looks
lightning.
like it definitely looks like there's an FX. It could be coming off of like Hulk for some reason too, but yeah,
Hulk's
there's like
got some lightning. The lightning cracked like Frankenstein style and brought him to life.
Yeah. But there's definitely like an effect that's going on between Thor, Hulk, and Strange.
Yeah, it's one of you guys. It's one of you three. Talk about that Thor a little bit. He's got the gold hammer. He's got the gold arm. This is one of the newer Thors. I don't know anything about comic books if they're not Captain America related, so I don't know what this Thor is from. He looks really cool. His like translucent lightning at the bottom of his base and his like shins like under his knee are also translucent, which is really, really cool. And he's like flying up using the hammer, obviously. And like that's a really amazing sculpt. Probably also a super rare or something like that. Like that's just a really sweet sculpt.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the Captain America sculpt that we've been seeing with him catching his shield. This one, I don't know if I didn't notice it before, but doesn't have the white on the like forearm to bicep like area that normally Captain America has. Maybe it was on the other ones and not on this one, and I just didn't notice. Or maybe it wasn't on any of them, and I'm just noticing now. But either way, that is a little bit of not really concern. There's probably has a design where he's missing the white, but I like that. I like that little white bit, just because there's like white is not big in his costume. It's mostly blue and red without that little extra bit, and that's probably like the thing they remove that a lot in all of the movies, besides like the first two Avengers. So, just
this is like
no
a
one
much
else
older costume, right?
This looks like prime 80s version with the humongous belt buckle, which is just like a big like normal belt buckle but just huge. This looks like Hotline Captain America. I'm gonna be gushing over this super boring, probably uncommon Captain America sculpt, but because it's Captain America and it's my show, I'm allowed to do that. Also, to gush over another thing here, the set symbol is really cool. I thought it was going to be a half star. Instead, it's the shield right? Like I thought it was gonna be like a half Avengers symbol and then half a shield, kind of like how they did with Civil War, where it was like half Cap, half Iron Man. They instead made it the Captain America shield with the Avengers A in the middle, which is quite clever. So I was cool. I'm cool with the set symbol. I think that looks pretty nice.
Also, there's a Robbie Reyes, like not sculpt or anything, but just the comic image that they chose as the backdrop.
Oh yeah.
So it's got a Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Captain America, Iron Man, She-Hulk, Thor. Those six, pretty like standard for an Avengers kind of set.
Yeah.
But getting a Robbie Reyes would be really cool. Oh, and there's a hidden Black Panther in the back corner. I didn't see. He's there too.
Also him. It's Alex Ross art. As always, Alex Ross art is just drop dead, just amazing. The dude's crazy talented. But right on, we got these from Heroclix Brazil, but he also shared them and doesn't know who to credit. The credit is probably out there somewhere, so don't come at me with pitchforks and torches if we don't know. Sorry, guys. But that is all the news this week. I overhyped Captain America stuff that wasn't previewed, so you're welcome for that. Moving on to the community section of the podcast.
There are dozens of us! Dozens!
Dozens of you all saying that all at the same time. Thank you for another good remix, Simeon. I love it. Don't worry about it. Because we forgot it last week because it was 12 a.m. / like 12:30 to 1 a.m. by the time we got to community. So I apologize for missing it, all right? We were barely holding it together at that point. We're going to do Jedi Legends Heroclix tip of the week to start us off first.
I don't want to sell your destinies.
I don't want to sell your destinies.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
Don't know what the echo is. I love it. Keep it in there. By that I mean totally get rid of it. I'm going to go ahead. So he says, this is last week's Heroclix tip of the week. Steal Energy with Flurry would result in 2 uses of Steal Energy. Flurry is 1 action comprised of 2 parts, 2 attacks. Each attack will trigger Steal Energy, so twice. But you only apply those heals once it's obviously done, because it's after resolutions you heal, but it's every time you hit. He also uses a punching gif from a wrong anime, and I'm glad that Simeon fixed it in the comments to the correct multiple punching gif from a correct anime. Thank you. Thank you for that, Simeon.
Yes.
No. I just watched that episode actually today because me and my brother are watching through Battle in Egypt. It's pretty sweet.
Great little run, yeah.
Probably my favorite that's been animated so far. This is me killing time because I can't find his latest tip of the week. If he even has one this week. Ooh, if he forgot. Because I'm looking at his tweets, like straight up his tweets, and I'm not seeing it. Did you not get one this week? Watch me have somehow missed it again. I know he did message in saying, so you're going to do it twice next week? And I said, nope, might not even do it once. That was just friendly riffing, so chillax, buddy. Trying to look at replies here. He might not have done one. So that sucks. Sucks to suck, you know? So, hey, we did it this week. So
Maybe we'll have 2 next week.
Maybe we'll have 2 next week.
Eventually we'll have 2.
Yeah, but hey, if he forgets, there's nothing I can do about it. Moving on to community, we're going to go ahead and do the Community Tuesdays questions. Simeon, go ahead and give us, we'll just do like 10, because it was a pretty easy question to answer, and pretty much everyone should have an answer if they play Heroclix. So we got a ton of answers, and I want to say thank you to everybody. So we chose about 10 each, and those are what we're going to be reading. The Community Tuesdays question was, Simeon.
The Community Tuesdays question was, when did you start playing Heroclix, and what was your first set? What's your answer, Calder?
So I started playing Heroclix sometime around 2011, 2012-ish. The first set I bought, because I chose to buy it online, was the 2011 Captain America set. That was the first booster brick set that I ever opened. So yeah. What about you, Simeon?
I didn't start playing until the very, very end of 2014. This would have been like December-ish. So the first set I bought was out of the Gravity feed for Flash. The very first figure I ever pulled of Heroclix was a Max Mercury, and I said, wow, what an iconic figure I have now. Max Mercury.
I can almost remember my full booster. Oh man, Max Mercury. One of those.
Elvis Flash, man. Yeah. No, I bought that. Then I don't think I really bought like an actual like sealed booster until like Avengers Assemble, and then I played in War of Light, of course, and so like I got some of those boosters. But no, I mostly just bought real old stuff online. Like I bought like a CUR of Wolverine and the X-Men,
Did you remember
and
your first like brick you ever bought?
the first brick I bought would have been, I think it was Superman, Wonder Woman, because they had the Colossals, and I was real excited for that. So I pulled Brainiac, and I was like, I don't care about Brainiac. And I pulled the Atom, and I was like, I don't care about the Atom. I wanted Superman Batman robot. And then I stopped playing, and I came back,
The Atom is
and
so good, though. The Atom is so
Yeah.
good.
I came back, and they were still modern when I came back. And the Atom was going for like 40 at the time, and Brainiac was going for like 75, 80. And I was like, why do people want these? They're not iconic figures. It's because they're good.
They're good.
It's because they're good figures. Yeah.
One of the only possessors left, and then the Atom's the Atom, who is still my favorite all-time Retaliator. I think he's awesome. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I think if I can remember, like the first booster I only opened one booster of Captain America the very first time I ever ordered it. So it was Mr. Immortal was my first rare, and I had no idea who he was, but I instantly liked the guy because I thought he was hilarious, and I think I read like all of Great Lakes Avengers because I got that Mr. Immortal, and I thought like the back of the card, that was huge for when I got in, the back of the card having the brief like synopsis or like little history of the character was so cool to me because even if I didn't know who they were, like you got Max Mercury, like I don't know who this dude is. I think they were done putting that on the back of the card by then, like the whole little spiel, a little paragraph about them. But during Captain America, it was still a thing. So I really loved reading that.
Wouldn't you rather like know what your opponent's dial is?
I would absolutely not care.
The characters that you're playing. Wouldn't you care more about like the how the game like works and like the inner workings of the game than like the actual thematics and the characters behind it? Like the properties that they pay money to own.
How's this? As a new player, I would actually care more about what this character is rather than what they do or knowing what my opponents do. I would rather like to know more about the character themselves. Oddly enough, as a new player, that's what I really enjoyed about the history on the back. So I'm like, I kind of knew who Batroc was because I owned a few Cap comics. But like I didn't know any Batroc origin story. He's a French dude that like jumps around, I gotta learn more about him. I didn't know who Slingshot was. Still don't really care. But now I know she's got the nickname Yo-Yo and she's part of the Secret War. Like that's neat. That's really neat. I thought that was awesome. I love that little history bit, and that's what honestly made me buy a lot of like like the first Avengers set and stuff like that was the little learning thing. I thought that was super cool. I know once I got a lot of cards, I'd just go through and read them all because I thought they were super neat. So anyways, enough of our answers. I'm going to go ahead, start us off on the Twitters. Vigilante Chris Kurtz says, Infinity Challenge, so day one, but not really playing until the second Deadpool set. Also around the time the TMNT set came out, I was told to play or quit buying figures. I want to know more of the story. How he's like, I got in at Infinity Challenge, but I never played until 2017 when the second Deadpool set
over
came.
A decade.
Like
over a decade of buying and not playing.
Like what? Like there's a lot of gaps in the story, and I'm really curious about what happened. Go ahead, Simeon.
All right. On Facebook, Amber Collins says 2002 with Infinity Challenge. Started going to events in 2005 where I met Jason. That's the couple from Married with Clicks. Took time off around 2008 when my daughter was born and the game wasn't being produced. Came back to actively playing in 2013 just after my sons were born.
That's awesome.
That's
Cody,
a long time running.
That is a long time. I mean, 2002, heck yeah. Cody Williams. So I started playing when the first AVX starter sets were new. The Avengers starter was my first Clicks purchase, and then I bought a Wolverine and the X-Men, pulled a Super Rare Duo, Deathlock Prime booster, and some in Invincible Iron Man. Still nostalgic for those three sets, even though I probably only have 5 figures from them now. I bought a lot of Invincible Iron Man. when it came out because I thought the chases were so cool. That was probably the first like chase theme. I still don't own all of, but I thought the chases were so cool, even though I didn't know what they were because they're not even real comic characters. But they were just so cool. I actually wanted to just own them all because they were just awesome.
Nice. Robin Caves says, I technically started with a starter of the first Marvel and DC sets, but never found anyone that played beyond one friend I taught. Now that I'm actually in it legit, I started around the time of Uncanny X-Men's release. My first step in was a full gravity feed of all 3 Yu-Gi-Oh sets, Street Fighter starter, Fast Force of World's Finest and Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a small assortment of commons from various sets donated to me, all purchased around the same time. I mostly just wanted to play Yu-Gi-Oh, but was open to including stuff from everything. It's
Nice.
superhero Organis, Robin Caves.
There you go. You got it. Little plastic superheroes, the Ruffian. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. In 2014, I saw a War of Light advert and talked my friends into giving the game a shot. We all bought some Heroclix, printed out a rule book and pack, and never looked back. That is awesome.
Vigilante Jeff Polier says, Infinity Challenge was my first set, but my wife and I moved on to other games after IndieClix because we only had each other to play with. I returned to the game after our son joined me with Batman.
Right on. ISIS FX said, right after WizKids saved it from dying completely, I bought an Icon starter while the game was dead, and then my first set I bought a brick of was Brave and the Bold. Brave and the Bold was a really weird set. Really weird. I remember I just had to sort through a lot of it. I remember thinking, like, what is this set?
Great super rares, though.
Yeah, no, great super rares.
Larry Slade said, about 3 weeks ago, first set is the Blackest Night starter set. Big Lantern fan. I included this one because it made me feel not as new, you know. Everyone else is like, I started like literally before cards were even thought of.
Right, yeah. That kind of gets me. Well,
So.
from the beginning, you know, don't you? I'm like, no, not at all. I could barely make thoughts when this game like first came out. Jeez. Wait, did he say his first thing was the Blackest Night starter set, and he began playing 3 weeks ago?
Yeah. So he must have found like an old
the
one
store
somewhere.
must have had it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Loyal Miller, assistant Loyal Miller, said, I started playing late 2016 with superfan Christian Bogan. I bought a lot of old pieces at first from Amazon and started pulling blind boosters in January 2017. I mostly bought grab bags of Superior Foe stuff, hot set at the time. That was a good set. So it's not a bad set to buy a bunch of random stuff of.
All right. Matt G. Rachanos. I'll get the pronunciation one day.
You just say Matty G. Like just give up like everybody else.
I
Come
will
on.
not. Not part of his. I'm not part of his team. I'm not allowed to say those things. Matt G says Infinity Challenge took a break in 2007, started to play again competitively in 2014, and I hear that he is quite good at competition.
I think he's all right. I think he's doing pretty all right for himself in the old competitive scene. Vigilante Collectible, my first ever game was in 2002 using pieces from Clobber in Time, but I didn't play again until 2014. The Legion of Doom Fast Forces was enough to entice me to actually find a shop with events and start building a collection. The gaps I'm seeing people take these like breaks in is crazy for me. 2002 and then coming back in 2014. That's just insanely awesome that you're playing. That's really cool.
All right. Benjamin Umansky says, February will be 2 years. I saw the game outside my local comic shop, and when they saw me watching, they ran inside and grabbed me a bag of some common and uncommon pieces from Joker's Wild.
Superhero, Ben Umansky. Simeon. My goodness gracious, this guy's gonna get fired. Vigilante, Jedi Legend. He did rank up last month, and I have it on my piece of paper, but I must have forgot to say it because he mentioned that I didn't say it on the podcast, so I'm sorry about that. But it's on my paper. Once again, it was like 1 a.m. The Sentinel big figure, closely followed by Infinity Challenge starter set. My bro was into collecting the figs, and I said, oh, it's a game, I'll give it a try. Worked it out for myself, and we've been playing without hiatus since the dawn of Clicks. Impressive. Good job.
Yeah, takes effort, especially when it died for a while.
Right? Yeah.
Steven
Had to
Bombera
start
says,
playing Heroscape there for a little bit.
"Ow, that's really dark times."
That's really dark times.
Steven Bombera says, "Started with Infinity Challenge, left the game at Mutant Mayhem. I just returned at ABPI." So going along with that, from Mutant Mayhem to ABPI, that's got to be close to like what, 15 years?
Yeah. Jeez. The people coming back to it is what's really, really getting me. Like, wow. I'm super impressed. Excuse me. Protagonist Ben Jones, on my son's first birthday, had the Marvel Universe starter sitting on a shelf, and a friend said, let's give that a go. So we did. Been playing ever since. My son turns 15 in January. My first event was during the Coming of Galactus. I always saw those, that big event thing, and like the info on the Avengers like boosters, but obviously I got in 2012, so when I had Avengers boosters, like the event was like well dead and over, but I was like, man, I could win a Galactus somewhere. Where's my nearest game shop? 3 hours away. Cool.
Imagine like a big summer event to draw people in like that. Imagine if they did that.
That'd be really cool if they did like so even something like Galactus related. Wow, that'd be crazy
neat
cool.
if they, But we had Regenesis, so that's
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, what do I know? I don't have 20/20 vision.
Aaron Constantine Morgan says, since the beginning of the game, first outing to a local event was for Arkham Asylum, pulled Sinestro Batman, and have been playing in the bigger games ever since.
Nice. Superhero Demon Hunter. My first set was Guardians of the Galaxy. Primary notable pull was Zombie Morbius. Just shout out to anyone that somehow just got a zombie by buying one booster, because I bought so many single boosters of that set and wasted so much money, and I only ever got Red Skull. So, boom, love it. Great set to get started into. Guardians of the Galaxy was amazing.
Oh, yeah. Rebecca Tim Romo said, 2006, it was the 2099 starter set.
Nice. Rex Jungle Cat said, picked up the Smallville Fast Forces set so my son and I could try out the game. Shout out to Ryan Glass Cabinet Films for his tutorials on YouTube. I feel like I should shout it out as well, but I got in just because like I really liked Minimates, and Glass Cabinet had Minimate reviews on his channel, and he also had Heroclix unboxings. And I remember watching all the Heroclix boxings, trying to figure out what it was. That's how I got into the game, since I didn't have a game store literally anywhere near me. I didn't even know game stores existed. I'm like, who would possibly waste that much money that you would set up a storefront for something like this? Ridiculous. So, yeah, absolutely thank you to Ryan of Glass Cabinet, because he also got me in the game. So I think it's really cool that somebody else used that to help them get going with the game as well.
Very nice. Matthew Armar. I don't know. It's
good job.
Armoire. I want to say armoire, but I
I'm
think
sure
it's like
it is. I guarantee
it's
it.
like a
Definitely
furniture
is.
item. So Infinity Challenge is what he says, and a few sets past that, then not again until my Superman, Wonder Woman.
The amount of people saying Infinity Challenge is making me feel like I got in way late. Like it's crazy. Infinity Challenge. Your first set.
Yeah.
Of course.
I always feel like that when I read these things. I always feel like 2014. Like I don't even know how to play. I mean, it's been 5 years, but yeah.
Citizen Tippy Toes Nuts, started collecting them with the Flash set, but only started actually playing the game a few months back. Right on. That's kind of how I started, because I didn't really play the game, didn't really know how it worked, so I just collected the figures. Thought they were cool.
Oh yeah, that's what I initially started as, but I was like, well, if I have them, I might as well play with them, and
This is off tangent, but what was like the first figure or sculpt that you saw where you're like, that's awesome, I want to own more that look like this? Or just like, we're so impressed with the sculpts that you're like, yeah, these just as figures are just awesome.
The first one that I like really, really needed was X-Man from the Wolverine and the X-Men set.
Ooh, yeah.
I was just like scrolling through HC Realms and I saw that, and being like a big X-Man fan, big like fan of Nate Gray, I was like, I really need that, and I got it, and it's got like a real weird dial, so I've played it maybe like 4 or 5 times because it's just hard to field. But that was a big one, and then like the Phoenix 5. Like once I finally collected all of them, I was like,
yeah,
just super cool sculpts. And then I think last on Facebook that I've got is Bale Omar says, I started with the first Star Trek Tactics set. My first ever game was in a Tactics tournament. I had to include that one because that's Calder's favorite set as well. Star Trek Tactics.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I love the old Treks. I'm a real Trekkie. You know, have a long life and may it do you well. All that jazz. Fingers spread where it's whatever. Dr. Alfred, last one I'll read on Twitter. Dr. Alfred said, I believe I started playing with my cousin back when Crisis came out, but didn't get my first set until Incredible Hulk, and it was a starter set at Cookie Con in Philadelphia. I probably said that wrong. That I believe he bought for me. The Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Revelations were the sets I bought myself. Really cool sets to buy yourself when it's not the normal Marvel DC stuff, but the sets that 2013 was just a year where they kept pumping out all these crazy different properties, and sadly they weren't modern age, but those did get people into the game, which was really cool. And to round off community, we're going to go ahead and not do a Malcolm Rush question block because they are all very specific to conventions. And if you maybe saw the episode that me and Simeon filmed for fun after our NebraskaCon, it was a Dial C for conventions episode, and I didn't mention it on any other podcast before now, but for kind of our side, like, fun thing, we both really love conventions, and I go into that more on that show, but I implore all of our listeners that if they sort of enjoy the cosplay convention talk that we get into, to check it out, and even if they don't, there is a segment, the beginning is just an interview with someone that ran a board game room, so it's still board game related, and we do talk a little bit about Heroclix in that episode, so you might want to just check that out. And then also these Malcolm Rush questions are perfect for another Dial C for conventions episode, which will be coming out later this week. So thank you, Malcolm, for those questions. We're going to answer those there since that more fits the tone of that podcast segment, branch off, spin-off show. Moving on, the Dial H birthday calendar. It was my birthday last week. It was also Superfan Lucas Van Holland's birthday, and we totally forgot because, like I said, we were super tired when we recorded, so we really didn't get to a lot of things, which is rough, I know. So we're going to go ahead and do our birthday shout-outs this week, and I'm glad that we did because we also have more birthday shout-outs to do. So, Simi, you want to go ahead and tackle that for us?
Oh, yeah.
Happy birthday! Hey, happy birthday to you!
And who was... Thank you for playing that. But who was the extra birthday shout out we had this week?
So we want to wish a happy birthday to John Slade. His dad sent in the request. He is a new player who looks forward to game time, and he's got his sights set on playing competitively someday. So happy birthday, John.
That's awesome. And then before we end the show, I do want to shout out a few new patrons. Thank you, Anthony Brown, for upping your Patreon support. Really appreciate it, my man. And then thank you, Aaron Lloyd, who pledged this month. As we posted on Facebook and Twitter, we are giving away a Joker Lockjaw Power Woman and Daredevil promotional convention exclusive LE figure / the winnable Lockjaw. And the way we're going to do it is the first name we draw gets to choose, and then the second name we draw gets to choose what's left. So it's fairly simple. There's 4 options. First person chooses one. Second guy chooses the next one. That way, you don't just like, I got stuck with Mammoth Ghost Rider. That sucks. Instead, you can go ahead and choose from our little pool here, which I think is a cool way to do it. So if you want to do that, go ahead and jump on our Patreon for as low as $1 a month. You can go ahead and support us and everything we do in the podcast. I'm working on getting more stuff out for the tiers, which is like the stickers and then video shout-outs and everything else done. Obviously, the more we make on Patreon, the more I'll be able to do more stuff on YouTube, which I think would be really cool and really fun. But it also pays for the podcast and lets us keep it going. If you are interested in Discord at all, I hate it, personally, but no one cares what I think. So I made a Discord anyway for all the Patreons, and what we're going to start doing before every episode we record, we're going to probably like randomize who we do this with, but we're going to play a round of Bad Samaritan. Discord has a voice chat room. So basically it'll be like Simeon, me, and then maybe 2 other people. So it's like 3 versus me on Bad Samaritan, or we'll let Simeon do some Bad Samaritan choices as well. So if you want to play Bad Samaritan with us, go ahead and join the Patreon. And we're going to start doing that every week before we record. And of course, if someone wants to play it and they are in a weird time zone, like some of our people from Finland and Australia and all these other places that aren't America, we'll figure out where we can slide you guys in. We do our best to be accompanying to those people less free than we are. That's not a statement. It's just a joke. Please don't message me about that. I don't care.
It is a joke.
It is a joke. It's a joke. Also, Simeon said it, so it's fine. You guys, if you're listening to this, you know how I am. So please just calm down. Lower the pitchforks, lower the torches. But that wraps up Dial H for Heroclix. As a reminder, you can find us on Facebook.com/Dial H for Heroclix, Twitter @DialH4. That's the number 4 Heroclix. Send us an email at dialhforheroclix@gmail.com. We are on Podbean, iTunes, and wherever awesome podcasts are found. Simeon, go ahead and read us out of here.
Before I read us out, I just want to let everyone know that it's getting slick outside, so watch your footing. And with that, Dial H for Heroclix is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, including all the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Happy trails.
Murder.